Welcome to the All Things Nintendo podcast. I'm Brian Shea from Game Informer, and this is a weekly podcast to discuss all the biggest news and games from the world of Nintendo. I hope you all had a great end to 2023 and are off to a great start in 2024. As I mentioned in last week's episode, we are going to kick off 2024 by getting caught up on all the news. And guess what? There wasn't a whole lot to get caught up on. So the main segment of the show is going to be focused on looking ahead to 2024. Joining me for that is Game Informer's Wesley LeBlanc. Wes, how are you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm feeling refreshed and ready to take on the new year.
Yeah, we did have a bit of an extended break. We didn't have hardly any new releases, and I'm assuming you, like me, had a decent amount of free time. Did you end up playing anything during the last couple of weeks?
Yeah, I played a lot. Let's see. I started with Final Fantasy Crisis Core was like my big backlog completion because I wanted to beat that before Rebirth comes out in February. I went straight from Crisis Core into the intermission DLC of Final Fantasy Remake because I had been holding off on it to kind of bridge my excitement to Rebirth, and I felt now was the time. And then I decided to play Final Fantasy XVI's Echoes of the Fallen DLC. So I am currently Final Fantasy sicko mode.
You're Mr. Final Fantasy.
Yes, yeah, that's the moniker I'm trying to get in the games media industry. And I think I need to play a good bit more, but I'm on my way.
Yeah, I mean, well, you didn't write the cover story. That was me because that's just the way it all panned out. Yeah. But you did write our Final Fantasy 16 cover story. You reviewed Final Fantasy 16. You're playing through all of the Final Fantasy 7 content that you can. And I believe you're probably going to be the one that ends up reviewing Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth for us. So you are well on your way to establishing yourself as Mr. Final Fantasy in at least a Game Informer. That's for sure.
Advent Children's coming back to theaters later this month, I think. Might try to hit that up. I know. I actually have never seen Advent Children. It's like my one Final Fantasy VII hole, I guess, because I've done everything else. And I'm toying with the idea of playing Dirge of Cerberus, although I'm pretty sure it's unnecessary. And I don't remember liking it, so I don't know if I need to like damage my vision of Final Fantasy VII right before Rebirth. But
what is the easiest way to play Dirge of Cerberus? Is it just like PSP?
Legally, yes.
Whatever it was.
Something, one of those types of systems. My Steam Deck, I own a copy of Dirge of Cerberus, and I legally created a version to play on my Steam Deck legally.
Legally, okay. As long as it's legally. So yes. You actually touched on something that I like. Did you get any presents or anything that was like tech related? Because I lucked out this holiday season in terms of like bolstering my technology that I own, in particular gaming and entertainment technology. But before I talk about what I did you get anything added to your repertoire?
No, funny enough, games and technology is like the one area that friends and family don't really mess around with when it comes to getting me gifts, because I am, well, one, with my job, like we get a lot of codes for games and we play a lot of games in general. So like it's rare that I have a game I haven't picked up yet. Whether I'm playing it for work or just because I got code for it and I have it. And then technology, I'm very picky with my technology purchases because they cost a lot of money. So I do a lot of research into them and I kind of do those myself. So that's like something the people that know me like never get me is tech or game stuff. So I did not get any this year, which is fine. But I got lots of books and nice cards and stuff like that. So it all evens out. What about you though?
So I just before this, so I tweeted this out that like the best way to frame it is through a combination of sales, gifts, and rewards point redemptions from my credit card. I now have, over the last 2 weeks, acquired an Xbox Series X, which I just had the Series S before, a Steam Deck OLED, and AirPod Maxes, which are the over-the-head headphones from Apple, which the sound quality and the noise cancellation is phenomenal on that. I've only done one flight with them because my parents actually got those for me for Christmas. And so I listened to podcasts and music on the flight home, and it was night and day. Like I have the AirPod Pros, or I've had those for about 2 years. They've been like the thing that I listen to when I'm usually traveling, but this is definitely going to be my new travel companion alongside with the Steam Deck OLED. I'm very excited to have both of those kind of able to make my flights a little bit better, because I traveled nonstop in 2023 and 2024. I have 2 trips in January. So it doesn't look like it's slowing down all that much, but
So you like the
Yeah.
Maxes? I've had the AirPod Pros for a while now, like 2 or 3 years, and I've been tempted to get the Maxes as well for travel and stuff and planes, but the price tag is always like, I'm like, I don't know. But
It
now
was
that you
one of
have them,
those
you
things. It was one of those things where I went to an Apple store and I was like, let me try these out because I love the AirPod Pros. The original AirPods, I had nothing but technical issues with. Like I thought they were cool,
Mhm.
but they just constantly had connection problems. Apple even replaced one of the AirPods that wasn't connecting because it happened very early on, so it was still under warranty. And then
Mm.
the other one happened like just outside of warranty. So I eventually ended up just buying the AirPod Pros because I heard better things about them. I've had better luck with those, even though sometimes the case doesn't really charge all that well.
Yeah.
And then the Max has so far been great. It was one of those things where I was just like, I tried it out at the Apple store and I was like, well, I don't know if I'll ever buy these for myself. So I waited for a time when like somebody was looking for an excuse to spend money on me, and
Yeah.
that was the answer that I gave. And I did
Nice.
not expect it. I did not expect them to spend that, but they did. So I appreciate. Shout out mom and dad.
Shout out mom and dad.
But yeah, so that was my holiday haul. Even though it wasn't all gifts, it was also me. I was saving up rewards points to get the Xbox Series X, and then they dropped it by $100, and also it was on sale for $50 off. So I had like $480 worth of rewards points saved up, and then it dropped down to 350, and I'm like, well, now's the time, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah, I saw there was like a lot of good deals for the Series X. Like the one that comes with Diablo 4 was like mega cheap. And I think over the break, like Costco had the Series S for like $150,
Oh
which
my
is wild.
gosh. I
Yeah.
did not see that. I'm now the arduous task of saving those rewards points back up in the
Yeah.
event that a new Switch console comes out in 2024 has begun. Because I mean, thankfully I saved a little bit by waiting for this sale to hit where it was $350 instead of 500.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my plan now for those rewards points, which transitions us perfectly into this episode. Like I
Ooh.
said, not a whole bunch of news from the last few weeks, but we did get a few smaller things. And here is a news story I didn't think we would be covering in 2024. But there was a game in 2016 called Super Mario Run. Wes, did you play this game when it came out?
I did, yeah. Not much because I was one of the people that didn't feel like spending $10, but I did play it.
Okay, I played a lot of it. I know Kyle Hilliard, like, he became like a not a speed runner, but he was like putting up amazing times in the Mario Run levels
Hmm.
and amazing scores. I think he 100%ed it, like getting all the collectible coins and everything. Uh, I thought we were done with this game personally. Like I moved on. I think almost everybody had moved on.
Yeah.
Nintendo seemed to move on. But now we have oh, by the way, for the people who were not aware of what this game was or weren't around when this game hit, it was a mobile game that Nintendo put out. It started out as an iPhone exclusive and eventually I think came to Android. But we got an update and Super Mario Brothers Wonder themed.
Yeah.
And what was the main new addition in that game? New Super Mario Brothers Run, Wes.
The Wonder Seed.
That's right, and that's what they added in this title update. So it happens in Toad Rally, which is another. I think that was a post-launch update that Mario Run got. They were doing updates for a while with Mario Run, but then they eventually trailed off and seemed to stop supporting it altogether. But then here we are. You can find a Wonder Flower in the level, and then that transforms all the coins in the stage into gold Goombas. And then
Hmm.
if you defeat 50 gold Goombas, you get a stamp. And if you collect 20 stamps, you can get in-game cosmetics to decorate your plaza. I remember that was like a big incentive for doing a bunch of stuff is you'd get like new buildings and new statues and everything you could decorate your plaza with. And it seems like now they're expanding that with like additional in-game items. Like there's like it's like gold Goomba themed. So I'm guessing they're going to be able to keep expanding on this, adding different things that happen when you get Wonder Flowers. But I bet like they're kind of handcuffed by the existing engine and everything because it's a presumably a different system altogether than what Super Mario Brothers Wonder uses. But this event runs until March 14th, and I think I know your answer when I ask you if you're going to check it out because you didn't even spend the $10 when it was at the height of its popularity. But I'm
Yeah.
guessing you're not going to check it out.
No, if anything, I would just go play more Wonder because I still need to 100% it.
Yeah, it's a really good game, believe it or not.
It is. Yeah, I agree.
But yeah, I don't think I'm going to check it out either. It only goes till March 14th. So I guess if you want to check it out, if you already dropped the $10, go play the Super Mario Brothers Wonder themed event in Super Mario Run. Uh, but here's another one. Would you play a Mario Maker style Zelda game?
I would. I would try it out at least. I probably wouldn't be too good at it.
Well, did you ever check out the dungeon creation tools in Link's Awakening remake?
I didn't. I have owned Link's Awakening remake since it came out, and I have not played it yet. I keep telling myself I will, and alas.
Yeah, that's been my experience with it as well. I put in probably about 5 hours of it, and then I just kind of got distracted with other stuff. Need to go back to that. But this news story comes to us from Polygon by way of Nintendo Life, is where I found it. And I guess it was 2 or 3 weeks ago now, I recapped my interview with the Tears of the Kingdom developers on this very show. And since then, a few other outlets have published their interviews with them. And Polygon was one of the outlets that had an interview with Eiji Aonuma and Hidemaru Fujibayashi, and they asked them about the possibility of doing a Zelda maker. And here's what Eiji Aonuma had to say, quote, "There are people who want the ability to create from scratch, but that's not everyone. I think everyone delights in the discovery of finding your own way through a game, and that is something we tried to make sure was included in Tears of the Kingdom. There isn't one right way to play. If you are a creative person, you have the ability to go down that path, but that's not what you have to do. You're also able to proceed through the game in many other different ways. And so I don't think that it would be a good fit for The Legend of Zelda to necessarily require people to build things from scratch and force them to be creative." So what is, I mean, first of all, what is your reaction to his assessment of that?
I think it's fair, and he's all like, I get where he's coming from, but it is weird to just be like, to take that creative, like the community will be creative, and it's weird to just be like, we're not even going to let them try. But I also get like the protectiveness over it, and I do agree with him to an extent. But like, I don't know, why not try?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, is that like Nintendo gave us Super Mario Maker and Super Mario Maker 2, and I know Mario Maker 2 seemed to like kind of not sell as well as they hoped, which is a surprise to me because it seemed like almost every Switch version of a Wii U title has just done gangbusters. And the ability to make your own Mario levels and also download infinite Mario levels from the internet just seems like it would be a no-brainer hit. But I don't know what it was about Mario Maker 2 that just didn't seem to get the reception and the sales that Nintendo was hoping for. But the thing about Mario Maker is you don't have to be creative if you don't want to. You can just play the levels that Nintendo creates and includes with the game, and then download the levels from the internet. So you don't necessarily have to be creative.
Yeah.
The real fun is in sharing your creations or downloading other people's creations.
I do wonder though, like as a fit for the franchise of Zelda, like Mario is about going left to right, reaching the end of a level, and that's all that Mario Maker is. Whereas Zelda is not just about dungeons. Like dungeons are like key points in the game that you reach after doing such and such. So I do wonder how fun or how boring a game would get if it's just dungeon after dungeon after dungeon without like any of the overworld exploration or like NPCs to talk to and stuff. Like I could see that getting, uh, I don't know, a little stale. And then also like, is that a $70 or $60 game? If I don't know.
I mean, it might not just be dungeons, right? Like you could potentially, like, the first thing I immediately come to when it's like when I make Mario Maker levels, I try to do like different concepts, and like I did one that was like a speed run level. I did one that was like a Sonic style, not speed run level, but like branching pathways. Um, and then also I recreated 3D Mario levels in 2D. So like I recreated like the first 2 or 3 worlds of Super Mario 64 in Mario Maker 2.
Yeah.
And stuff like that would be hugely fun for me, with like having the ability to like recreate Ocarina of Time in like the Link to the Past style would be so cool for me. But
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's fair, but does Nintendo want people doing that, That's
Yeah.
it's a little different than making a brand new Mario level. Although did people did make like basically entire Mario games. I know, what was it, like Super Mario World 2 was a really popular download in one of the Mario makers. I forget who did it. It was maybe Game Explain or somebody like that. They created basically like a Super Mario World 2.
Well, they
Um,
already did. Nintendo already created Super Mario World 2, Yoshi's Island.
okay, yeah, that's fair. But
But yeah, no Zelda maker. It sounds like, which is, I don't know. It's expected, but also kind of a bummer. I would
Hmm.
like to see them try other franchises with the maker. What franchise do you think would work best with maker outside of Mario?
Maybe Metroid, like specifically like a 2D version where you can look at like you can look at the map and like place rooms on it, and then like connect them, and then you can place like enemies in the rooms and stuff. I feel like that would be easy. Um, Especially, I wish like for some reason when I think of these types of games, I'm like, man, I wish we still had the DS because they feel so much easier with the stylus, and you can just grab and click them right onto the screen. But yeah, I think Metroid probably for me of Nintendo's franchises.
That's a good pick. I thought of Kirby, which would just be maybe be too close to Mario Maker.
Mm,
But then I thought of Mario Kart, and being able to just
yeah,
design your own tracks would be a super cool thing. But we'll see if that ever happens. I
I
mean,
feel like if they're not going to do Zelda, they're definitely not going to do Mario Kart. Mario Kart is Nintendo's like bread and butter now. That's still, yeah, it's number one on Switch. Yeah,
oh, by a long
um,
shot. Yeah, it
yeah,
destroys
like
everything
50
else on
million
the sales
almost.
charts.
Yeah,
But Nintendo had a huge adaptation last year in the Super Mario Brothers movie. They announced the Zelda movie, and later this year we're going to have a Borderlands movie. We're going to have Sonic the Hedgehog 3. We're going to have a Knuckles TV show starring Idris Elba. We're going to have a whole bunch of other stuff. Sonic Prime's season 3 is coming to Netflix. But we got some news about another video game movie, and it's from Deadline and also Jack Black because he posted it on his Instagram. But it's Deadline is reporting that Jack Black will play Steve in the upcoming Minecraft movie. And then, like I said, Jack Black posted a picture of himself reading up on Minecraft, like lore and like the basics of Minecraft.
yeah.
I'm guessing that's him saying that he doesn't know anything about this. He is just joining because his work on Mario was very popular. So apparently, Jason Momoa is also on the cast. I did not see that information before this.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I was also kind of ignorant to the fact that we were getting a Minecraft movie in general.
yeah. There's actually a lot of history with this movie. It goes as far back to like 2016, I think. Sean Levi, who I think did either Deadpool 1 or Deadpool 2, was set to direct it, and it was going to be live action. And then he backed out, and Rob McElhenney from
McElhenney.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, signed on to direct it. And then it was in the works, updates coming out in 2019, and then it got delayed, and then COVID happened. Kind of went quiet, and then I think in like 2021 or 2022, Warner Bros. And Legendary Pictures said that they're making a live action Minecraft movie, kind of picking up the pieces from what they'd been trying to do for the past 6 or 7 years. Um, and Jared Hess is directing it, who did Napoleon Dynamite and Nacho Libre. So Jack Black
There's a
makes
Jack Black connection, yeah.
yeah, it makes a pretty good fit. And I think the first news we got of it, other than Jared Hess and it coming out, is Jason Momoa. He's starring in it, which is interesting because Steve is like the cover art character of Minecraft, and Deadline's reporting that Steve is being played by Jack Black. The official trades have confirmed that Jack Black's in the movie, but none of them, other than Deadline, has touched on the Steve thing, and neither has Jack Black. Not to say Deadline's wrong; they're often right. Just officially, all we know is that he's in the movie, but Deadline sources are saying Steve. But yeah, this has been like a long time coming, and it's set for theaters in 2025, basically. So yeah,
Yeah,
10 years in
April
the making.
4th.
Yeah, coming
April
out,
4th,
and
2025.
we should. I mean, theoretically, we should be seeing a lot more about it soon. They're filming like this month in New Zealand, so maybe a trailer by the end of the year.
Yeah, and also like Jack Black, maybe is this even going to be live action? Could it be
Yeah,
like,
no, it's live action,
I
which
mean,
is
it's
I
so
don't
weird.
even yeah, I don't know why you make a Minecraft movie live action. I don't even know what that looks like. Unless it's like a Lego movie type thing where there's like a live action element, meta narrative going on, and then most of the movie takes place in Minecraft, like a cube world or something.
Or maybe it's like a Gran
Um,
Turismo movie type thing. Which, by the way, I saw
yeah.
Gran Turismo over the holiday break. I thought it was really good, despite being a thinly veiled commercial for Gran Turismo 7.
Well, it's based on a true story.
It is, but like it's also updated for like they're playing Gran Turismo 7 instead of whatever the
Nice.
original
Yeah.
game that the guy was playing was. But I mean, I've really enjoyed the movie. It was like, oh yeah, this is definitely like a commercial that Sony. It's like the most expensive commercial that has ever been made for
Yeah.
a video game.
I mentioned the
Um,
true story thing because I think like a week or two into its theatrical release, they changed the name of it to be Gran Turismo based on a true story.
oh
Like that's in
really?
the tagline. Yeah. And
Yeah.
now if you look up the movie, that's the official title, which is really weird.
Is it on Netflix or Amazon or something now? So I recommend checking it out. If it's not a traditional video game adaptation like Mario was, where it's like actually these characters. It's just a guy who plays Gran Turismo so well that he gets recruited to be a real race car driver, and then tries his hand at translating his skills at being like a world class Gran Turismo player to being a world class race car driver. And it's a good story, and it has David Harbour from Stranger Things.
Yeah. Orlando Bloom too
Nope.
from Pirates of the Caribbean and Lord of the Rings, obviously.
Yeah. Deep cast, great acting, and a heartfelt story. Recommend that. So back to this story though. Jack Black, he's in a lot of video game movies. Like he's in the
Yeah.
upcoming Borderlands movie as
As
well.
as Claptrap too, like another star character.
Claptrap. He's Mario, or he's Bowser in Mario, and then he's apparently, reportedly, Steve. So he's
Yeah.
playing a lot of the most iconic video game characters of all time.
I don't blame Warner Bros. And Legendary. Like Jack Black, I mean, he was a great casting for Bowser and he crushed it. But like Jack Black is responsible for a lot of the legs of that movie beyond the Mario name. Like the entire year he was singing Peaches on Kelly Clarkson's show, at Jonas Brothers concerts, showing up to award shows in like a Bowser costume. Like I'm sure part of it is they know that Jack Black will do whatever to get word out about this Minecraft movie, and he'll do it in a very comedic and charming way because he's a very charming guy.
Do you think that we get another song from Jack Black in this one?
I've already heard a very bad AI version of Peaches, but he's saying creepers instead of peaches. So
Ugh.
I'm sure I'm sure there's going to be some musical element. I mean, you don't hire Jack Black, who I think sings in every movie he's in, as far back as School of Rock in my memory, without giving him a song to sing. He's great at it. He can probably do it off the top of his head. Let him do his thing, but
Yeah.
don't make it creepers. Also, I don't. A song about creepers doesn't translate as well as Peaches.
No, it does not.
Yeah,
But yeah, so Minecraft set to hit theaters on April 4th, 2025. I'm sure we'll have some more news about that, and as 2024 rolls on, because that's probably going to be one of the bigger movies as far as box office numbers is concerned. As long as it doesn't look like total garbage in the
yeah,
first half of 2025. But all right, South Park Snow Day. You know about this game?
yeah. Have seen it. I don't like the way it looks, but I'm interested.
I don't like the way it looks either, but it is a an all new South Park game. It's a 3D co-op action game from THQ Nordic, and it has a release date now. So you can customize a new kid, and then you can also interact with the standard characters: Cartman, Stan, Kyle, all those characters. Upgradable weapons and special abilities. To have up to 3 friends or bots on your team in these encounters. There's hordes of enemies, unique bosses. It's coming to Switch and other platforms on March 26th, so right around the corner here. But yeah, this looks kind of like a B or C tier South Park game, whereas like the Stick of Truth and the Fractured But Whole were kind of like that A tier level of gaming. This maybe looks like it could be like that. We're saying how like the double A game
Yeah,
has kind of disappeared from the industry. This looks like maybe the return of the double A game.
yeah. I'm curious how much. What's the dudes behind South Park? I forget their names.
Matt and Trey.
Yeah, like because they wrote the first two. I wonder if I imagine they didn't write this one, or were they probably weren't as intimately involved in development. And I wonder if that's going to like show through because I haven't seen much about this game. Whereas Fractured Butthole and Stick of Truth, they were like everywhere. Those were big deals. I remember seeing them like during commercials playing during South Park. But this
Yeah,
game I have not seen much about.
I'm on the official website right now, and I'm not seeing a whole lot in terms of like mentioning the original creators of South Park, and that seems like they would lead with that on the promotional stuff here.
I wonder if they even voice them. I mean, Cartman and like those characters have been around for so long that I'm sure there's so many people who can do great impressions
I mean, you'd
of
think
them.
that it would be weird to have them voiced by anybody else, right?
It would, but THQ Nordic, you know, they seem to make this seems like a double A game. So I don't know if you're hiring Matt and Trey
It
to do this.
it does say from South Park Digital Studios, the studio that brought you South Park: The Stick of Truth and South Park: The Fractured Butthole and South Park: Phone Destroyer, comes the next chapter in the journey of the new kid. So it's apparently the
Huh.
same character from those games.
Okay. Cool. Phone Destroyer. What is Phone
That
Destroyer?
was a mobile version. That was like a mobile game that
Okay.
they put out, I think 2021.
Hmm. I will
Um,
say the gameplay looks interesting at least. Like I loved the gameplay of the first two, especially Stick of Truth. But like I think it's cool to do like a Diablo style action RPG for this. I just don't really like the 3D visuals of South Park, whereas the first two games nailed like the card stock appearance of that show.
yeah, so the game itself is $30.
Okay,
And I
that's
think that
fair.
so the collector's edition, which comes with the game, uh, tarot cards of South Park,
Nice.
Cartman's beanie. It looks like Wizard Cartman knit beanie, Wizard Cartman talking toilet paper holder. So it's like a statue, and he's holding his arms out, and there's a toilet paper roll that you can presumably put a roll of toilet paper on. And then
Perfect.
Snow Globe and the original soundtrack. From what I understand, this is a very expensive, limited collector's edition. I want to say the amount that I saw was $220.
That checks out. THQ Nordic has been doing these more like double A games and then with these massive editions. I remember the SpongeBob. I forget the name of it. I reviewed it last year. Jeez. Uh, Whatever that SpongeBob game from last year was, the collector's edition was like wildly expensive. Like I want to say almost $300.
It is $220 for the South Park Snow Day Collector's Edition. So if you just want the game, it's $30. Comes out March 26th. I'm just looking at these screenshots. Yeah, I'm not a big fan of the 3D art style on this, but who knows? Maybe it'll end up being a really good game.
Yeah.
The bullet points under key features remind me of like somebody who is trying to remember what this game is. It says key features, and the first bullet point is it's an all new 3D co op game.
Nice. Cool.
I
That's
don't know if that's
enough.
meant to be
Sold.
humorous or like it, yeah. But anyway, that's coming out March 26th, Switch and all the other platforms that you would imagine it would come to. And Wes, we'll wrap up the news portion right here. August 27th of this year is the 30th anniversary of Mother 2, or as we know in the West, Earthbound.
Hmm.
And according to the official Mother Twitter page, they have plans for the anniversary of the game. And I know that the creator of Earthbound, or Mother, and Shigeru Miyamoto are doing like a series of interviews as well. And
Yeah, I saw something about that. Apparently, Miyamoto made the creator cry because he showed him the game story for the first one, Earthbound, and then Miyamoto didn't say anything and left. So the guy went home and cried.
oh god, that reminds me of like those Miyazaki from Studio Ghibli stories of like people bringing
Yeah,
stuff in, and he's just like ruthless
yeah,
towards them. But I mean, I think it's safe to say that Mother and Earthbound has Miyamoto's respect at this point, especially if Miyamoto's sitting down and doing like a multi-part interview with the guy.
yeah, for sure.
But
What is does Miyamoto have involvement with it, or was he just like the Nintendo guy at the time?
I think
So
I mean, well, he's always been the Nintendo guy.
that's fair. Yeah, true.
I don't think he has much involvement with it, if I'm not mistaken. But what do you think is going to happen here with the anniversary of the game? Because there's two clear options, right? The first one is always going to be Mother 3
Mother three.
localization,
Yeah, and
which we
then
never got.
yeah, I still don't think that's gonna happen. Do we have is Mother 2 playable here?
Well,
Earthbound 2?
Earthbound, just Earthbound.
Oh, Earthbound is Mother 2?
Yeah.
Oh my god. I've never played these games. I just know about them because they are often talked about. Um,
Here's the other option, I think.
let's hear it.
Nintendo has been all about remaking older games.
Yeah.
What about a full-on Earthbound remake in the style that like Link's Awakening or Super Mario RPG got, where it's kind of like
Ooh.
faithful to the original art style, but like updated and obviously modernized?
That would be so awesome. That would be really great. Do you think maybe even a Switch, that could be like a Switch 2 not launch title. That wouldn't be a launch
I mean,
title,
it would
but
be a launch title. August 27th is the 30th anniversary.
Yeah, that's true. I just wonder, you think so they announce it then and then it comes out on Switch 2 in next year or the end of this year if Switch 2 comes out
Yeah, I
this
mean,
year?
hey, I we're gonna do predictions episode next week, I think, and I have predictions, and
Hmm.
this could be one of them, but we'll see. But yeah, I mean, would you check out Earthbound if it was modernized for?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay,
It's been on my backlog for a while just because not only is it a game that like this industry talks a lot about and it just has like the legacy, but I've heard it's like really good as well. It's not just like an old game that people loved. It's an old game that holds up really well today and is very unique in Nintendo's catalog of games.
I mean, it could use a little bit of modernization in terms of like the gameplay and like the direction that it gives you, but other than that, you're right. It is a game that people still love playing today. It's not like
Yeah.
just like nostalgia glasses, I don't think.
Hmm.
But Wes, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we're going to be doing a draft of our most anticipated games of 2024. We will be
Ooh.
right back. Now that 2023 is completely behind us, it's time to do what we always do and look forward to the year on the horizon and the greatest that 2024 has to offer. In this main segment, we will be talking about everything that we are excited about. Maybe not everything, because first of all, Nintendo has made a huge shift in recent years on how it releases and announces games. We used to learn about games, look at Metroid Prime 4, a long time before they came out. Now it seems like Nintendo is all about like just telling us about games, and then like 6 months later at most they come out. Like we didn't know about Mario Wonder until Summer Game Fest of last year. Now I mean, then it came out in October?
Yeah.
Or yeah, October of, so that was like a 4 year gap between announcement of Mario Wonder and release of Mario Wonder.
4 month or not 4 year.
4 months, sorry.
Yeah, yeah. Sorry,
Uh,
I got confused.
the 4 year gap actually was Tears of the Kingdom. We learned about that
Yes.
in 2019 and then didn't get it till 2023. But I think those are fewer and further between. So this is not going to end up being everything that we are excited about with 2024, because we probably don't know the vast majority of stuff coming out in 2024. But we're not going to do this as like as I've done in the recent years or the past 2 years, where I just kind of go down the list of like, all right, here's what's coming out January 18th, and here's what's coming out January 20th. We're gonna do a little bit of spiciness here. We're gonna do a draft, just so it's not a dry
Ooh.
rundown here. So, Wes, we are each going to pick 5 games, and I'm gonna bring up a randomizer here, and we're gonna choose who goes first. So, what I want you to do is tell me one or two, basically a heads or tails, and we're going to see who goes first.
One.
It is one. So do you want to go first or
Nice.
do you want to go second? Now, because it's a serpentine style draft, the person who goes second also goes third, and then vice versa. So the person who goes fourth will go fifth.
I'll go second. I don't think you'll
Oh,
choose my
okay.
number one.
Okay. So these are only games coming to Switch. And man, there's a good amount of games coming to Switch, and
Yeah.
we have to make a ruling here, Wes.
Hmm.
Does Metroid Prime 4 count on this?
I have it written down. I think
Okay.
it counts. They said Switch. We're still playing the Switch, so they owe us Metroid Prime 4. Now, do we actually think it's coming out this year? Probably not. But dang it, I'm anticipating it.
Okay. Well, it's not going to be my number one. I'm actually going to go. Oh, man. There's so many games. I'm just looking at my list here. I'm going to go with Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown.
Ooh,
It's my
an
number
early
one
one.
pick. That's going to be my number one pick. I played it at PAX West, and I had a really great time with it. It's probably not it's far from my most anticipated game overall in terms of like all games. Like that's probably Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But in terms of games actually coming to Switch, this looks like one that I will want to pour tens of hours into and really just explore that world, enjoy that combat style, and just kind of enjoy the traversal as well. Because from what I remember, the way that the prince can bounce around and climb the environments and everything is really really fluid and feels great. So
Yeah,
that comes out.
60 FPS on Switch too.
Yeah, that's
Um,
impressive.
Yeah,
And
1080p 60 FPS on dock, I think. Ubisoft put out like a document with or not a document, like a blog with all the different modes and stuff for different consoles, and it's nice to see a Switch game at 1080p 60 FPS.
yeah, for sure. So that comes out January 18th, and that is my number one pick. Wes, what is your number one pick?
My number one pick does not yet have a release date, but it's gotta be this year. It has to be.
Oh
And it
God.
is Hollow Knight Silk Song.
Oh, I missed that one.
Yeah, you did.
God,
Um,
I have a list of all the games that are coming out in 2024, and I missed Hollow Knight Silk Song, so that you snuck one in there, and that's I have nobody to
yeah.
blame but myself.
I mean, what is more, there more? We don't really even know what this game is really, other than a sequel to Hollow Knight with a new character. But we know what Hollow Knight is, and we know what this game's probably going to play like. At this point, we're all just kind of riding the high of the first Hollow Knight game and what people thought of it. And it's almost memey now. Actually, it's not almost like a meme. It definitely is a meme. Every Nintendo Direct, every Indie World Showcase, every Xbox, whatever, PlayStation, like the chat on YouTube and Twitch is just Silk Song, no Silk Song, blah blah blah. Like it's time. It's been I don't even know how long, years and years since they announced that it was coming. Um, no word from the team at all, really, other than like we're working on it. It's got to be this year, right? It has to be.
Yeah, I mean, it would be crazy if it is not this year, especially since it was supposed to come out last summer,
Yeah,
and then they
it's
delayed it. So it would be wild if it was more than a 1 year delay. I would imagine it's going to come out at some point this summer, at the very latest this fall. But then again, we've been waiting for this game for so long. But yeah, it
yeah,
is. I feel like it's the most anticipated game for a lot of people, and that's a good number two overall pick because man, I missed that one.
yay.
So that means you get your second pick now.
My second pick is probably the one I'm personally most excited for, and that is Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door remake or remaster, whatever it is. Um, it's not an easy game to play today in terms of like finding it and having a place to play it. I think you need to still have a Wii U or a Wii maybe. I've never played it, but a lot of my friends love it. It's like my best friend's favorite game. And I've been wanting to play it for a while, and I'm very excited to do so on Switch. And people say it's like probably the best Paper Mario, so that's exciting.
Yeah, that was very high on my list as well. I've actually never played a Paper Mario game aside from
Me either.
Super Paper Mario, the one on Wii that was like kind of like a pseudo platformer. I played
Okay.
a good amount of that, and that was really fun. But I hear Paper Mario Thousand Year Door is the best of all of them, and
Yeah.
people are very hyped about that. So those are two very good picks. We don't have release dates for either of those games, so we don't know exactly when your first two picks will be playable. But presumably, Hollow Knight Silk Song will be 2024, and we know Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door will be 2024, unless Nintendo really delays it.
Yeah.
Ah, man, speaking of Nintendo, my next two picks are first party Nintendo. I am going to go with my number two pick, Mario versus Donkey Kong.
Ooh, nice.
Typing that
Yeah.
in there. That comes out February 16th. I am super excited for this one. I loved the only Mario versus Donkey Kong game I've ever played was the Wii U version, Tipping Stars. And that was kind of like you set off these automated robots to you would set up the course, like it was like an obstacle course or a puzzle obstacle course, and you kind of had to set it up so that they could automatically walk through the level and you'd get like bounced around, and eventually you'd collect all the stars in the level, and then you'd reach the goal. This, I believe, you are controlling the character directly, so it's
Yeah.
not all about like passive gameplay, it's more active gameplay, and I loved like the puzzle elements of that game, and I'm really excited to check this out.
Is
So
it
that
a
comes.
remake of like the original one or
They've been
anything?
kind of nebulous about this. Like it
Yeah.
looks like it is a remake, but I don't think they've outright said it is a remake.
I mean, it's probably. I wonder if it's just like something they don't need to touch on too much because I don't think that series is super popular anyway. So like remake might actually harm it a bit, as compared to just saying like this is a new Mario versus Donkey Kong game. But yeah, it's weird how they've. I've seen some people be like, this is definitely a remake. Like I know the original
It
game,
is.
and okay,
Like
it is.
the wording used is the rivalry that originally heated up on the Game Boy Advance system
Okay.
reignites on the Nintendo Switch with newly added co-op play and added visuals or updated visuals. So that
I love
has
how
to
many.
be a remake.
I love how many words they use to not say remake.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it looks great. I mean, Mario and Donkey Kong are having a good stretch here of it being like their rivalry again. Whereas, Donkey Kong and Mario haven't been rivals for quite some time now, but it sure seems like with the Mario movie and now this, they're kind of bringing that back into the forefront.
Yeah.
So that comes out February 16th, and my third pick, my number three pick, not overall, my number three pick is going to be Princess Peach Showtime.
Yeah.
This
I
one
knew I
looks
was
like
going
a
to lose
lot of
this one.
fun. Yeah, it's a bunch of costumes that change her job and her job title or whatever, and her abilities. And I'm excited for Kung Fu Peach. I think that looks like a lot of fun, and I'm excited to see like how creative they get after we saw Mario Odyssey kind of taking on a similar idea where his outfit or whatever he captured kind of dictated what his abilities were.
Yeah.
So, looking forward to kind of further exploring those transformations through Princess Peach, especially since now she has been expanded so much as a character through the Mario movie. And like for a lot of younger people, that is the version of Princess Peach that they know. They don't know the damsel in distress that we've had
Yeah.
for almost 40 years now. They know the Princess Peach that's here to throw down and was better at platforming than Mario before Mario learned how to platform.
Yeah.
And so I'm excited to see how they further explore her as a character now and also her abilities and make her this really great video game protagonist. So that is my number three pick. That comes out March 22nd.
Oh yeah, I forgot that so soon. That's a good pick. I'm excited. It looks great, and I'm really excited for the music too. I like when Nintendo does these games that have different themed worlds, like Mario Odyssey, because you get to hear like so much different types of music. And Nintendo pretty much always crushes it when it comes to music. So good pick.
Yeah, thanks. So that is my number three. What is your number three?
My number three is a game I have played some of because I previewed it, and it is Penny's Big Breakaway. A little
Yes.
platformer from the team behind, well, not the team behind Sonic Mania because they were working with Sega and they spun off into their own studio, which is now Evening Star. But yeah, it's their first game. It's an original IP. They did not do the Easy Layup, which is a Sonic Mania esque platformer with a new character that's not Sonic. Instead, they are tackling the weird PS1 inspired 3D platforming genre. And I got to play the game for about 2 to 3 hours, pretty much the opening three worlds. And I wrote about it in issue 362, I
Mm-hmm.
think,
The
which
Final
is
Fantasy
the our
VII cover.
yeah, our current issue. So go ahead and pick that up because you get to read about Penny's Big Breakaway and you get probably one of our most gorgeous covers in a long time. It's so good. But yeah, this game, it's awesome. The T-Lope score is great. This team knows what they're doing, no surprise, and I can't wait to play it. It's a fun, unique 3D platformer, and it's one that Nintendo's not making. And I'm always, excited to see what non-Nintendo teams can do in that genre.
Especially with the pedigree they have with Sonic Mania. Like they already
Yeah,
showed they understand how to make a great platformer. So well, I'm
yeah,
very excited to see Christian Whitehead and his team tackle another genre of platformers because like we've seen him work within the Sonic franchise for so long. Because not only did he do Sonic Mania, he also did a lot of the ports of the
hmm
classic Sonic games. That's kind of where he cut his teeth, was creating an engine where those original games could kind of like flourish on modern systems. Like he did a lot of the mobile ports. He did, I think, the Xbox Live Arcade ports. So he really understands how to make a um, great platformer within the constructs of the Sonic franchise. I'm excited to see them spread their wings and try this one out. So
yeah. I mean, it's a 3D platformer inspired by weird PS1 games, which is cool. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater and Devil May Cry. Like that's just throw all those into a pot and then you let this team make it. That's going to be a great, great game. I'm very excited, and it's coming soon. I think they said in the first half of 2024 or something like that. I don't remember, but um, definitely 2024, and I'm very excited.
the interesting trend that I'm seeing right now, we'll see how this, let me see what your number four pick is because we might be very close to having this trend fulfilled. Well, let's see.
Let's
What's your
see.
number
Number
four?
four is, I know this one's probably not on your list. Deca Police
No, it's
by
not.
Level 5, I think is the developer's name. I'm blanking on it. This was shown in, I want to say, the most recent Nintendo Direct, or maybe the one before that. But it gave me big Astral Chain vibes, which I am in the top 1% of Astral Chain fans on this earth. I love that game, and this has no relation to it at all. Totally different developer, but it gave me those vibes. And then I'm watching the trailer, and I've been watching like developer interviews and stuff, and the game looks great. You're basically in this like futuristic cyberpunk city, and you're like a team of investigators, and you go into like a VR world to do different investigations. And it's like one part a cool looking like turn-based ish RPG, and then another part like investigations where you're putting clues together and mapping crime scenes out. And it just looks great. And I love the art style, and it's something different and unique. And I'm very excited to check it out. There's not much gameplay out there beyond what was shown in the direct, so I'm still like, I still want to see more. But what I've seen so far is enough. I'm very excited.
I definitely see the inspiration you're talking about with Astral Chain. I
Yeah,
remember seeing this on the Nintendo Direct now that you mentioned it, and
yeah.
yeah, it does look pretty cool. It was not on my list, but it is one that I think that I understand why people are excited for it.
Yeah.
Well, Wes, the trend that I mentioned has remained true to this point, where all of my games have stern release dates. Prince of Persia, January 18th, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, February 16th, Princess Peach Showtime, March 22nd. And your picks to this point, Hollow Knight Silksong, Paper Mario, Thousand Year Door, Penny's Big Breakaway, and Deca Police have no firm release dates. But with my last two picks, unfortunately, that will change because
Mm.
my last two picks do not have firm release dates. I'm going to go Metroid Prime 4.
To be clear, that was number 5 on my list, so I was going to keep the trend going, but I
You
will
were.
break the trend now for my new entry.
Well, Metroid Prime 4, the only reason it's not higher on my list is because we just don't know for sure if it's going to come out in 2024. So I feel like it got docked a couple points there.
Yeah,
But I mean, if they said, like, yep, this is coming 2024 for sure, it probably would have been my number one overall pick.
yeah.
But it's just kind of like one of those weird, like, is it coming? Is it not? And so, we don't know hardly anything about it aside from that shortly after it was announced and revealed to the public. I think within a year of that, development was restarted with Retro Studios.
Yeah.
And since then, we've gotten Metroid Prime Remastered, which again, maybe the best like remaster, not remake, because it was not a full on remake, but best remaster we've gotten in a long time.
Hmm.
Metroid Prime 4, hopefully we get 2 and 3 kind of like in a collection of some sort, but we'll see. I'm hoping that 4 is kind of like the modern FPS that we've all been craving from this franchise, because that would be really amazing if we could get some sort of sign of life, if nothing else, from this franchise.
How confident are you, like 1 through 100%, that we're getting this game this year?
I mean, 70%.
Wow, really? Okay, cool. That's
I think that they've got to get it out. Maybe another prediction that I don't want to spoil too much of next week's show is that this will be a cross generation game, kind of like
ooh,
Breath of the
okay.
Wild was,
Yeah, yeah.
because
I
they
can
already
see that.
announced that this game was coming to Switch, and
Yeah.
they don't like to cancel SKUs. It seems.
Was it at the Switch announcement, the couch
I'm
presentation
pretty
thing?
sure it was announced.
Yeah,
I think alongside Bayonetta 3. Like it was, those were both announced the same
that's
day, if I'm not
wild.
mistaken. But I could be wrong there. I know it was very early. It might have been the E3 after.
Or
Um,
Bayonetta 3 was Game Awards, wasn't it? Or was that first gameplay?
oh
I don't
God, I don't
remember.
know. It's
But it
all
has
blended
been
together.
2017.
It
So,
was 2017 for sure with Metroid Prime 4. I want to say it was actually the Nintendo Direct at E3 2017. So after the Switch had come out, I think that they announced Metroid Prime 4 at that Nintendo Direct, but
mm.
I could not be less confident in that. So that's my number 4 pick. And then my number 5 pick, oh man, there's some good ones here. I do want to give some shout outs. We'll do that after you pick your final one. I'm going to go with, oh man, there's two that I'm really, really bouncing between. I'm going to go with Contra Operation Galuga.
Ooh, okay.
It's way forward developing it. I read an interview over on Nintendo Life. They're saying a lot of the right stuff about what this game is going to be. It's a loose remake of the first Contra on NES, which
Yeah.
is very near and dear to my heart. I still remember that was one of the first video games I ever played with my uncle, and it's just a great side-scrolling run and gun game. And if Way Forward, who is a very good developer, can nail the feeling that Contra should have, this could be like kind of the start of this franchise's revitalization, because it's been in a rough patch, but not only a rough patch, but also a non-existent state for a while. We got Rogue Core, which was not good at all, and then we got
Yeah.
some other games before that that just weren't up to the standard. It's had a very difficult transition to the modern gaming landscape. So I really hope that Operation Galuga is kind of like the Sonic Mania of Contra, where it's like, okay, this is the best Contra game in years, and now we know like a direction for this franchise. Like Sonic Mania came out, it was the best Sonic game in years, and then like the developers, even if they didn't continue on with the Sonic Mania team, they saw that like, okay, people really want like a well-designed 2D game that uses like kind of like the retro physics. And then we got Sonic Superstars, which wasn't as good as Sonic Mania, but it was still better than what we were getting before. I'm hoping that this is kind of the start of that, where Contra Operation Galuga comes out. It's a really good game, and now the developers know what fans want from it.
Yeah,
That is my number 5 pick.
I think I had a Contra on SNES, and
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember getting past the first level. I just remember playing it often and
Well, they're
enjoying.
also saying that because Contra is notoriously difficult,
Yes, yeah.
and they're saying that they're going to have several difficulty options for players of all skill levels. So
Hmm.
that's also very appealing to me, because I also ran into that with some of especially on like the 16-bit era, where it was like, oh my God, this game just absolutely decimates me whenever I try to do anything. So
Yeah.
I mean, I got a little bit further with the NES Contra when I was a kid because it was not nearly as punishing. But, Operation Galuga looks really good. The developers talking a lot of really, uh, saying a lot of the right stuff in like their design approach, and how they're like honoring the feeling of the original, but also like making sure that it feels good in like a modern setting. So I am very excited about that. And I don't think you're going to pick my other one that I was going between, but we'll do shout outs and honorable mentions after you pick your final one. So I broke the trend of having firm release dates on all of mine with Metroid Prime 4 and Contra Operation Galuga. Wes, you have one pick left. What is it?
It is going to be another Crab's Treasure, which
That was on
actually
my list.
continues my trend.
Yeah, you don't
I
have a
don't think it
single
has.
firm release date.
Yeah, I like the mystery and the allure of 2024. I love Souls-like games, which is no surprise. And this one looks fun and unique. You play as a crab underwater who is just trying to survive in the aquatic kingdom. And yeah, I got to see it at Summer Games Fest last year, and it looks great. The team's really cool. And I don't know, not much more to say about it. I love Souls likes, and this is a different take on it, one that's not going to give me nightmares, and I'm excited for it.
I think this looks just like a silly goose game,
Yeah,
but I
it
think
does.
it looks like it's going to be very fun.
Yeah, the team knows that. They have a really good Twitter account. If you want to follow a funny gaming account, they are very quick with the memes, and I appreciate it.
You got to respect the meme game if it's strong, right?
You got to, yeah.
All right. Well, so we have our 5 here. We'll run it down. Mine was Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, Mario vs. Donkey Kong, Princess Peach Showtime, Metroid Prime 4, and Contra Operation Galuga. Wes, you had Hollow Knight Silk Song, Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door, Penny's Big Breakaway, Deca Police, and Another Crab's Treasure.
Yeah.
Here's some other games I just want to shout out, since we're not going to go into depth about them. Animal Well, Little Kitty
Yeah.
Big City,
Ooh.
Rugrats Adventures in Gameland, which
Oh yeah.
basically Limited Run is working with, I think it's called Wall Ride, is the developer, and they're making an NES style Rugrats game. And there's actually an NES version that you can plug in, or you can put into an NES, and it works. It's a cartridge.
That's so awesome.
But if you're playing on modern consoles, you can swap between NES visuals and modern visuals. That's very cool. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. Unicorn Overlord is one that I think that a lot of people are
Yeah.
very excited about. That's from Vanillaware, the developer behind 13 Sentinels, Dragon's Crown, Odin Sphere. So there's a lot of really high enthusiasm surrounding that. Rift of the Necrodancer,
Mm.
Blazing Strike is another one. That's a 2D kind of homage to Street Fighter 3, and I've worked with the developer behind that a lot, and he really gets like 2D fighters, and I've played an unreleased build of it, and yeah, it's more and more promising. I think it's been scheduled for release for the past 4 years. So that's why I didn't end up picking it, is because it's just, will it ever come out is the question at this point, because it's just taken forever. Another Code Recollection, The Plucky Squire, and Botany
Ooh.
Manor. So those are the ones that I wanted to shout out. Are there any that I missed that you wanted to call out before we wrap up here?
Yeah, just a few. Demon School, which is a Persona-esque
Oh,
indie
right.
RPG coming out. It's like half visual novel, half RPG. That comes out in, I'm seeing online, Q2 2024. It was at Summer Games Fest, I think, last year.
Mm-hmm.
One of those shows, and it just looks great. Seems like a fun time. Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. I like the Luigi's Mansion games. I did not play 2 because that was on. Was that the 3DS one or two or?
Luigi's Mansion 2 was the 3DS one. It was originally
Yes,
called
yeah,
Dark Moon.
yes, that's right.
Now they're just calling it Luigi's Mansion 2 HD, I guess.
Yeah, which whatever, that's fair. I'm excited for that. And then this one doesn't have like a hard release date or even like a window. But Dragon's Quest 2 remake, HD remake. I forget what they call it officially. I don't even know if it's like for sure coming out this year, but I just want that game. It looks great.
Yeah, I mean, those are all great picks. I mean, we don't know so much about what 2024 has for us, and it's already like, how am I going to play all these games?
Yeah.
Also,
What's your
Pepper
number one?
Grinder.
Oh yeah. Oh, Pepper. Where have I seen that before? That's like the little platformer one.
Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's right.
What were you going to ask
Um,
me?
I was gonna ask you, outside of or maybe Switch included, like what's your number one most anticipated game of 2024?
Oh man, it's got to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
Yeah,
But like,
mine
I'm
too.
also stoked for Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth.
Yeah, that's soon.
Yeah, that's very soon. That's the thing though, is like so many games are either announced for 2025, like GTA 6. It's like, all right, well, that's coming in 2025,
Or they're
but
coming out before March.
or they're coming out before March. We don't know
Yeah,
so much about like March to December of this year. And it's like, I feel like we're gonna probably get a Nintendo Direct sometime in February, if I had to guess, because that's
yeah,
typically when they've been doing them lately. We'll learn a lot about this first half of 2024, and then there's probably going to be a state of play or like something else. Then we're going to hear about the rest of 2024 at Summer Game Fest. I keep wanting to say E3, but E3 is dead, um,
officially. Yeah,
officially. So we can't even say like E3 timeframe, Summer Game Fest timeframe, and then like Gamescom will be kind of like rounding it out. So it's like hard to like really even put my like flag in anything, but it's got to be Final Fantasy VII Rebirth.
yeah. This first quarter is pretty wild. Tekken 8, Infinite Wealth, Persona 3 Reload, and
That's up
Rebirth.
there too.
That right there is like, I don't know what, 300 hours of game to play. Like that they could end 2024 and I'd be playing games just fine.
I mean,
Um,
honestly,
so like,
I'm excited for Suicide Squad, Kill the
oh
Justice
yeah,
League as well.
yeah. I'm not. I'm excited for the story because I love Rocksteady's DC stories. I'm not sold on the gameplay. I haven't played it, but I know people that played the alpha who ignored NDAs tweeted out their thoughts and said they enjoyed playing it,
Hmm.
which is funny. If you sign an NDA with a big company like Warner Bros., I would recommend not breaking it. But that's just my non-professional legal advice. But yeah,
Here's
I'm excited to see how that shapes out. I forgot that's another big hitter this year.
here's a few others that I'm just scrolling through our 2024 release date, which by the way you can find at GameInformer.com/2024. Foam Stars.
Oh yeah, Foam
That's
Stars
on.
is better than you think. I played it at Summer Game Fest and I legitimately had a good time.
I had a great time with it at PAX West. Hyperlight Breaker. I love Hyperlight
Ooh
Drifter.
yeah,
Hyperlight Breaker is alleged to come out in 2024 at some time. Man, I'm just like scrolling through here and seeing what else is on the list that's like not given a release. Senua's Saga Hellblade 2.
ooh yeah. I was gonna say Xbox and PlayStation especially owe players like a direct or something like some kind of here's what we got coming out this year. Because I know like we don't know too much about Xbox. Maybe Avowed, maybe Senua Saga,
I
and
mean, Fable
PlayStation.
maybe.
Fable, oh gosh, Fable would be incredible this holiday season, please. And PlayStation, we don't know really anything coming out. I mean, Death Stranding 2 is being developed, but that's not first party technically. Other than that, I don't know. Like Nintendo and Switch are doing the best in terms of telling players what they're playing this year, by far.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I got to think that there's a reason for that, but we'll see.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, but yeah, Wes, I think that's a decent look ahead at 2024, what we know about 2024. If you're a listener to this episode and you want to let me know what you're most excited for, you can hit me up allthingsnintendo at gameinformer.com. We are going to take our final break of this episode. When we get back, we're going to do a quick eShop Gem of the Week segment. We will be right back. We are back, and we're going to close out the show with eShop Gem of the Week. We haven't done one of these in a while, but Wes, you had one that you were excited to talk about. So what is your eShop Gem of the Week?
Yeah, my eShop Gem of the Week is a game called What the Golf. It was I want to say an Apple Arcade launch title way back
I believe
when.
It was.
But it's on Switch now, and it's just a great game. It was so good that after my trial for Apple Arcade ended, I bought a subscription to it because I wanted to keep playing it. It's basically it's a golf game, as the name would imply, but what starts as a golf game like quickly becomes this weird, wacky, zany, almost like golf platformer where your goal is always to get the ball in the hole, but it quickly jumps from like, oh, normal golf courses to this is wild, what am I doing, to the point where like sometimes your goal is to get the golf club into the hole instead of the ball. And it's just a lot of fun. It's got a very cute, fun art style. There's tons of levels, like dozens and dozens of levels. It will give you plenty of game to play. And it's a great time. It's a good reminder too that I need to check out their kind of like pseudo sequel to it, I think called What the Car or something like that.
Yeah, I was when I was upgrading to my, because that's Apple Arcade as well, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I haven't yet checked it out, but I've heard good things, and I know people like this team a lot, so I'm sure it's great.
I want to say that like that was one of the ones that when I was stuck in an Apple store without the use of my phone for 3 hours.
Oh gosh.
When I was upgrading my iPhone 13 to an iPhone 15, this is like 2 months ago now, 3 months ago. I was just watching the sizzle reel of like Apple Arcade games that have come out in the last year or two on repeat, and I think What the Car was one of them that they were featured. I was like, oh, it looks good. I should check that out if I ever get my phone again.
Yeah, right. But yeah, that's I forgot to look up the price, but I can't imagine it's much. I'm gonna guess
$20.
Oh, $20. Okay. I still think $20 is totally fine. And they added more content after its release, so like there's a good bit of game to play there.
Yeah, and it came out on Switch in 2020. I believe Apple Arcade was 2019, but I could be wrong there.
That sounds right, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, What the Golf, I played it on Apple Arcade, and I had a really good time with it. So I actually added it when you were talking about it to my Switch wish list because I want to see how it plays on Switch, like with like the tactile controls instead of the touchscreen.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be pretty interesting because the touchscreen does make a lot of sense. You're kind of just pulling back the ball and shooting it forward. But I'm sure it feels great on joysticks too.
Yeah, so What the Golf, $20 on the eShop. Wes, thank you so much for joining me for this episode.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
And thank you so much to everyone for listening. Do me a favor, if you haven't already, throw All Things Nintendo a 5-star review and hit that subscribe button. If you want to get any questions or comments in, you can get in touch with me at allthingsnintendo@gameinformer.com or hit me up on social media at Brian P. Shea. You can also join the Game Informer community Discord, which is a perk for subscribing to our Twitch channel, even just for 1 month. Wes, where can people find you on the internet?
You can find me at LeBlanc Wes on Twitter. You can find me at Wesley LeBlanc pretty much everywhere else, like Instagram or Threads or Blue Sky. I am going to try to do better with those this year because Twitter just continues to suck a lot. Most importantly, you can find my writing on GameInformer.com, and you can sometimes hear my voice on podcasts like this or the Game Informer Show, or on things like reviews or NGTs on Game Informer's YouTube channel.
That is our show for this week. Thank you all again so much for listening. Take care. We'll see you next time.